Hi, I'm Quinn Curtis, the Artistic Mom, and I'm bringing you another Artistic Mom moment today. I want to start off with telling you a little story to kind of give some reference to today's thought. When I was younger, I played the viola. Well, prior to that, I learned how to play the piano. I started playing the piano when I was about 4 years old and played continually all the way through high school and kind of faded off after that. But I experienced a lot of success in the piano, and so then in the 4th grade I picked up the viola. I thought it would be a natural move to bring in a new instrument into my life and just take on 2 instruments instead of 1. But I always was frustrated with the viola because it just didn't come as easily to me, or so I felt. And so I had a music teacher tell me this at one point in about junior high, is I would get so frustrated with, this just isn't working how I want it to, it doesn't sound as good, what's my problem? And the music teacher said this, and it's always stuck with me, and maybe this one-liner is exactly why I needed to learn the viola, because this concept is so important for life. He said, your instrument is playing you. You are not playing your instrument. And I think it is so true, because I was letting the skills I hadn't learned or whatever else, I was letting it all intimidate and overwhelm me, and thus it would affect how I would play. So I wouldn't play wholeheartedly and didn't know exactly how to get over those hurdles so that I could play my instrument better. Well, it's the same way in life. We're given these tools of a body and a mind, and they're incredibly powerful. And our greatest gift in being here is to have these blessings. Even just our agency is the best blessing ever. And so with these gifts, though, there's also the price of kind of the learning curve of learning how to use them. And so I feel like oftentimes the large majority of us are allowing these tools to play us instead of us playing with using those tools. And so specifically I want us to talk about the mind and using the tool of the mind. I hear a lot of people often say, oh, my mind, I just am so worried all the time and stressed, and I've been there too. And though in fact, just in Relief Society yesterday, the sweet sister that was teaching was saying, I've been working so hard at thinking the right good thoughts. And I just smiled, and my heart just went out to her, because that is a battle that we struggle with all the time, and we may never win. But the concept to remember, so that you can learn to instead play your mind instead of have it play you. Because when our mind plays us, we get sucked into the madness that happens in our mind. Everything that occurs in our mind is generally a reaction to what we see, hear, smell, experience. And so it's just a natural cause rather than something that we can control. And you've probably heard this example of, if I say, don't think of a purple cow, all you'll think of is a purple cow. Well, it's the same with your thoughts. And so to really gain control of your mind, the key is to reconnect with your spirit. So to do that, as Eckhart Tolle talks about, I love him, I'm always talking about him, but as he mentioned, is that you carve out stillness in your mind, because in stillness is where you can find presence, and in presence is where you can find yourself and your soul. And so when you connect to your soul, then you also are connecting and cluing into divinity. And God is peace, everlasting peace. And so to find mental peace, we just have to carve out that space. But it's like a muscle, learning to control your mind. And maybe something that we'll always work with to some degree. But he talks about 2 important concepts. The first being to carve out space. And the way to do that, he guides you to learn, is to stop identifying and judging things, which is easier said than done. So, for instance, you see flowers, instead of looking at the flowers and thinking automatically, those are beautiful blue flowers, oh, look at those green leaves, and trying to enjoy it by identification, that takes you out of the present. And so instead, or even just judging it, if you're instead looking outside at the snow instead of thinking, oh, this snow is going to really be bad. it's going to make it colder, and it's going to be a pain to shovel it, and blah blah blah. You're 10 steps ahead, you're into the future that hasn't even happened, or you're back in the past of, oh, that snow of 97 that was just a doozy. So instead, if you just remain in the present and just try to experience the snow or the flowers, for instance, nature is the most easy to connect to and find presence in. So that's why I'm using those examples. But once you connect to that, then you clear out all the judgments and try to not have any thoughts and just take it in. And it sounds crazy because when you're so used to identifying and using words in experiencing life and judgments in experiencing life, then it's a whole new game to try this. And so when I first started learning this, I could keep my mind clear of thought for about 2 to 3 seconds or so, it felt like. It was a very, very short amount of time. And then as I've gotten more into practicing this every day, it's become so much easier, and I really love it. When my kids are kind of busy and crazy and life is a little bit madness, I just can step in to myself and find stillness, stop the thoughts, and stop the judgments about the situations. This is also useful when your kids are going crazy, or they're hitting each other, or they've destroyed something that you're sad about, like recently my flip camera. But anyways, so I just reach in, find stillness, and then when I come back to thought, I'm in charge. My soul, my spirit, my true self is in charge, instead of my mind immediately reacting to that situation and acting out on that. So instead I become an agent to choose how I'm going to react, and thus I'm playing my mind instead of it playing me. So anyways, I hope you found that tip useful, and we'll kind of keep continuing that discussion. I think it's such an important one, especially for moms. Our lives are so busy, but if we can find mental stillness, then it just makes the biggest difference in being able to play our lives and enjoy our lives and find fulfillment and peace and joy and light and truth. So anyways, have a great day.